Hey, thanks for taking the time to, well, you haven't got any choice, actually. I'm just talking at you, if you like. But I'm here also to present to you why I think it's not a bad idea and not that expensive as well if you become a member. And this is how you can do it, and this is what you can gain. So if we look here at the Talking Tennis sort of homepage, if you like, on YouTube, we can see this little button here which says join. It is also pinned in the live chat as well, and you can also, I think, see it just below most of our videos, certainly the live ones and so on. Now, why is it a good idea to join and become a member? Well, in the live chat, you can add little funny things, you can add emojis and all sorts of things, but possibly more importantly, you can get to access some live videos, such as this one here, where we look back on the last sort of few moments from the Billie Jean King Cup. So there are little bonuses such as this one, but there are many, many more. And in fact, if we have a quick look at all of the members only stuff, I repeat, you will see very, very quickly some of the top stuff that we've had for members only over the last 12 months since the channel began. Remember, these videos are for members only. You can become a member from as little as about $2 a month, €2 a month, £2 a month, something like that. There are various different things. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be supporting the channel. So it's a win-win-win-win scenario. Let me just show you some of the members only stuff. For example, we've got an exclusive little clip there talking to Laura Siegmund, Laura Tsurenko, her encore interview, some doubles footage there from Monastir, the Germany press conference pre-tournament Billie Jean King Cup, Claire Burrell talking as well to the media in her press conference in Monastir, Storm Hunter and Alicia Parks interview, Rebecca Masarova, her press conference, Coco Gauff exclusive for members only, albeit it was in Madrid, but these are just some of the things, some of the interviews and etc. Like Lestien here, a chat with him, Emma Navarro, and so on and so forth. So many little bonus videos available for just €2 a month. So, what are you waiting for? Become a member. Or don't. It's okay.
Ready? Play.
19 what?
19th of April, Stuttgart, quarterfinal day. Poland versus Great Britain.
May the best.
But I wonder
I'm
why
gonna play with the winner.
I wonder why the tennis players don't shake their hands before the match.
At the end, yeah. But will we be shaking hands in a few minutes? I don't know. So, should we just have a little practice?
Yeah.
Just a little practice? Oh, bloody hell. Oh, wow. Stuff, you have to, it has to hit the table, okay? Huh? He's playing like the Olympics now.
Ready. Play.
Well, the warm-up just ended. This isn't the match that we're going to watch. This is the match that we're going to watch. Is of course Basavareddy and Monfils played last week. Vansh is pretending that he didn't get the link, but I already sent it to him. Don't worry. He will be soon, relatively soon. Anyway, thank you. Oh, sorry, that wasn't my intention. But yeah, thank you, Brenner, for the membership. You must be a big Nishesh or Gael fan, I suppose. Speaking of Gael fans, I mean, where is Kren Boogie? We are doing a watch-along of Gael Monfils. We need to get our biggest Monfils fan on board. I will be very disappointed, mate, if you don't show up today. Well, soon enough, Vansh will also show up. And while he's not the biggest fan of Nishesh Basavareddy, I'm pretty sure he is keen on watching him develop, just as I am. Of course, this is Auckland. This is the Cameron Norrie event. So I think I'm going to ask Vansh, where is Cameron Norrie when he tunes in? But yeah, Auckland, of course, the ATP 250 semifinals. Very good lineup. I think Monfils, Basavareddy rematch from Brisbane, which was a fun encounter until Nishesh gassed out. And also Zizou Boerix taking on Nuno Borges. We might have a maiden ATP final showdown if Basavareddy and Bergs win. Of course, Nuno already won Bostad last year over Rafa in the final. Gael has won a few titles on the ATP Tour.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Vansh.
Oh yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, I'm just as excited about this as you are.
It's about the Australian Open draw.
Yeah. Both matches, to be honest. The Monfils and then the Djokovic one. I'm excited about both. I'll definitely try to watch everything.
What are we talking about now? Both matches of Basavareddy. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, this
because
one.
When you said both matches,
Djokovic.
I was assuming you were also excited to watch Bergs and Borges.
Yeah, that one I'm a little less excited about, but good story either way.
I am. We'll try to watch it, but well, we'll see about the energy levels. Truthfully, like 15-30 minutes before this very stream, they were pretty tough. But I know that streaming will give me some sort of an energy boost, so maybe we'll see. But yeah, did you watch their encounter in Brisbane last week, Monfils and Basavareddy?
I did, and it looked like physically Basavareddy, wasn't fully like there in the third set, and also that could happen today because Basavareddy has played a lot of tennis lately, including the qualies, where he actually almost lost to Bodig van Zandskop in the first round.
What was the extent of him almost losing?
Well, he lost the first set in a tiebreak, and then he was down. He was serving at 4-0, 15-40 in the second set.
Okay.
So
sure,
about 5 points away.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't know exactly that he was 2 breakpoints down from 2 breakpoints down when potentially he could have been what he could have been serving for the match. That's fair. Yeah, then you can definitely say that he almost lost. And yes, indeed, a lot of tennis, which kind of only makes you think that, well, now against Novak in Australia, his chances are getting even slimmer by the minute. But of course, at the moment, that's not really something that Basavareddy will care about. A few people are kind of arguing with me. Well, arguing is a stretch, but discussing with me when I said that Menchik is playing a bit too much for my liking at the start of the season before Australia. But it's a very different moment in their careers where they're at right now. So I don't think Basavareddy it's very clear he should just go for the title here and not really care about Australia, even if he has such an incredible match, which I'm sure will be very important for him as well, given that he's like modeled his game after Novak. Already a breakpoint in the opening game for the young American as well. Didn't survive that super long rally at 15:30. However, he goes to the net and wraps up the next point. I think as kind of usual with the Monfils playstyle. In their previous match, Monfils struggled to like find a good balance of knowing when to attack and when to just push. So that's kind of like the story.
Kind of the story of his whole career. Yeah,
exactly. So we're definitely gonna see a lot of that here today as well.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely a good start for Nishesh, but getting to breakpoint already.
The breakpoint that's just never ending. Both players up and down the court. But eventually it's Basavareddy with one drop shot too many. He is laughing to himself as well about this, but Gael was able to find the redrop, also clipped the net. Where is Cameron Norrie, Vansh?
Well, he had an unfortunate situation where he actually almost got defaulted. You probably saw that.
Oh, really?
Where, he just kind of got outdueled by Facundo Diaz Acosta, which was definitely a surprise for sure. Of course, Diaz Acosta went on to beat Diaz and then lost to Monfils pretty handily. But for whatever reason, Cam just underperforms in Auckland. I feel like maybe he puts a lot of pressure on himself.
He definitely did in that final against Gasquet.
Definitely not a good showing for him this week.
So
which was definitely surprising because he did start the year out pretty good, I would say, in Hong Kong.
Yes, indeed. But now he has more time to recover for the Australian Open, and we all know that he's getting a very deep round there.
Yeah.
Thoughts on this being a better spot for Nishesh with Gael off 3 previous matches this week than in Brisbane when he was fresh off an off-season? Have a great watch-along, guys. You're both two of us out there. Thank you, John. I mean, I remember you talking about that Basavareddy Monfils match, and it was happening in Brisbane. I remember seeing some of your tweets where you were kind of maybe even going at Nishesh a little bit for, like pushing and that this game can't really hold up, I guess, on the main tour. I was a little, I was like, really? That's maybe a bit of a stretch. But anyway, I think that if Gael has played 3 matches this week, then Nishesh has played 5 and then 3 the previous week. So I think like fatigue-wise, they are pretty even at the moment. So I'm not really sure if this is like much better than their Brisbane encounter from Nishesh's perspective in that, from that standpoint. Also against Tabilo in the third set, I think for like the first 6 games, more or less, it was basically the same match again. So like Nishesh playing Van Asch, Monfils, he just barely had anything left. And then suddenly he gets that one final push, which was the difference maker, of course. But I'm not really sure this is actually something that we can look at as an advantage, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. We already seen Nishesh going to the drop shot quite a bit on the backhand. Just trying to get Monfils away from 5 feet behind the baseline, where he likes to be.
Yeah, the game eventually goes to Monfils, of course. There's the hold. Nishesh trying to go for a trademark massive return, but it's going to be long. That one breakpoint, definitely some regrets there, considering how up and down that rally was.
Yeah.
So apparently I'm Bob Bryan and you are Mike Bryan. Which Bryan, was the kind of like the anti-hero of the Davis Cup this year?
I think that was Bob.
That's Bob. Yeah, I think so. So I got the worst. I got the worst Brian in two ways, because one of them, just what he did at this Davis Cup, but also Mike has 2 more slams.
But
right?
also, you came back after a hip injury, and you
Sure, yeah, I have a
you
story
won
of
a double duty
perseverance and dedication,
Jack
but you have
Sock,
2 more
so it's
slams.
kinda,
You also dominated with Jack Sock for like
yeah.
half a year. So I don't know. I'd rather be in your position, I suppose, but
Mm.
fair enough.
Yes, indeed. What do you think about Monfils in terms of, this year? Like, is he kind of more or less going to stay where he's at? Is he go down from here to go up? I mean, he's going to be 39 this year in September. So
Yeah, I
far,
was
the
gonna
last couple
ask.
of years, he's winning
I
at
thought
pretty
he
well.
was 38 already. Yeah, I mean, going up seems like impossible.
Yeah,
So I
going up
guess it's
meaning
just
like
really salvaging what he has and staying
get
around
back. I
that
mean,
range.
last year I think didn't he almost get back to the top 30, or he was close? I don't remember, but
Maybe
he was like
for a
in
while, or
yeah,
like some Toronto points dropped or something like that. But I don't know.
yeah,
I mean, he's already in a semi here. That's
yeah. So it's
100
pretty
points right now. I think it is 100 points.
Mhm.
So that's already covering for a lot of stuff. Last year, I think it was the year where like he was only really good on like faster courts. Clay was just
Yeah,
awful.
yeah. Clay, I think Clay is going to be a challenge, and best of 5 is going to be a challenge as well. Although he got to a third round of Wimbledon, right?
Slams,
And
we're
then,
not really looking at him as like a potential contender to make second weeks or something like that. Like it's all about 1 or 2 wins. It's like
yeah,
kind of maximum. So I guess it's very possible for him to stay within the top 100, and he's just gotten 100 points regardless of how this match ends. So, oh wow! I mean, some of the angles obviously that Nishesh is creating here is just, well, this should really help against someone who just like buckles down 5 meters behind the baseline and Gael.
yeah. And you can see
I
he's very
kind of
much
want to see
advantage
Nishesh playing Medvedev when I'm watching this. He's
Yeah,
got the drop shot. He's got the net play. He's got the short angles. He's kind of like a Sebi Korda with far.
He's got the slice as well. We saw in the first game he was just using the slice over and over again, and
yeah, it's like Sebi Korda without the pace, really, something like that.
Hopefully, his body will hold up better than Seb.
Speaking of Korda, he's obviously also in the semifinals this week, but that's in Adelaide, and he's only had to play 1 match so far. So not much info regarding his form or health, but he defeated Alejandro Davidovich Fokina. Pretty straightforward, but all 3 of their matches so far have been.
Yes, indeed.
They need to play Thanasi Kokinakis yesterday after the Australian pulled out with... Sorry, I just remembered because we did this Fonseca Rublev thing with John, and basically there was this joke which I don't think was on the show, but basically about the cock and him pulling out,
Oh yeah, that was funny.
That sort of stuff. Yeah.
The hardest I've ever
said with Drew, and then I'm like, no, with the cock we have to say pulled out.
Yeah. Yeah, so we mentioned already in the Nishesh playing Novak at great length, but you also have Monfils playing Giovanni Pericard in the first round.
Also, Monfils Pericard. Yeah, I was just reading that comment from John, and I was thinking, is he playing GMP? Yeah, don't really like that draw, I guess.
Yeah,
especially if he goes to the final here and just has to play even 1 more match. Seems tough.
it does. I'll be interested to see if he can get more returns back in play than some other players still, because I still feel like physically Monfils hasn't. I mean, he's definitely lost half a step, but it doesn't feel as evident as it does with some of the other aging players. Like you look at a Gasquet or like Rafa, for instance, or some Stan or somebody like that. I feel like Monfils more or less still has that kind of identity where he's comfortable 5-6 feet behind the base. And of course, he has made a few adjustments when he's won 6 titles in his 30s, mostly at the 250 level, but still, you feel like more or less he's the same player, right? There hasn't been too many massive changes he's made in his game.
No, I mean stylistically for sure, but just everything is a little worse. He still like anticipates very well too. Like it's not only about the
Yeah.
speed, which I guess helps you just survive that sort of a thing. But I don't know. It's, the game clearly has like less of a threat in it. That's something we can definitely say. That's another great drop shot from Basavareddy to set up one more break point. And I kind of agree with what you're saying, Keen, as well. Like Monfils to me is a very popular player in terms of like the answer. If you were, I think when they were asking tennis players, like if you were to go to one tennis match, like if you were to pay for a ticket for one tennis match, whose would you watch? And a lot of them were answering Monfils, and he's very funny, but I think 90% of his rallies aren't that entertaining. They will be more or less, I think, against Nishesh here because he's going to be trying to open up the angles, find the drop shot, slice, as Vansh said, get to the net. So I think against Nishesh they might be more entertaining than general. But to me, Monfils is a bit of an overrated player to watch in terms of just like, sheer excitement.
I agree with that. I think for me, my enjoyment of watching him also depends a lot on who he's playing. Whereas for some of the other guys who I think are just entertaining no matter what, I don't think that's the case. He's like very good for social media, for the highlight reels. In terms of you'll get the jumping smashes, you'll get the really athletic stuff, you'll get the scrambles. But that's a very small minority of points. Most of the points you're gonna see a lot of this kind of big injections of pace mixed in with rope-a-dope. Rope-a-dope extended long rallies.
Yeah, Nishesh wasted another breakpoint here, and Monfils is 2-1 up. That was, well, quite a miss, actually. Very short ball. It was uncomfortable. Like, off the backhand side, it's not really that pleasant. He had to, like, jump for it a little bit. But still, obviously, this is a game he should have won, much more so than the opener, even. Would I guess Alexander's just reached so he could afford to skip Australian Open qualies? I actually don't think so. I mean, I'm assuming we're talking about Richard. We're definitely talking about Richard. I just think he basically, is thinking these categories. So, like, he's not defending too many points until April. If he can really, like, go for it now and add an extra 250 or whatever over the next 2 months, then he can actually play, like, next slams, main draws, and etc. It's possible. I just don't think he has the same kind of quality as Medjedovic. So, whereas I'm pretty sure that if Medjedovic is just going to play, all these 3 Oeiras challengers, he's probably winning at least one of them. With Richard, not so sure about that. So that's why I think for him, it's a little bit more of a risky strategy to just avoid playing Australian Open qualifying and still stick to Europe. It might work out great, and we might actually see him as a direct acceptance in French Open and Wimbledon at the very least, which would be, exactly what Richard is going for with this, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I think with Medjedovic, it's just more of a certainty because, well, the guy can play at a much higher level. That said, I, by the way, don't want to sound like I, never really enjoyed Monfils' game or something like that. But definitely, like some of his favorite matches, I have them. It's not like, I don't know, Monfils against Nadal, Monte Carlo final. I think very underrated first 2 sets, for example.
Oh yeah, that was
so
a good one.
I don't want to sound like I hate watching him or something like that. I just think he's not exactly at the top of the like prime time watch list. He is very fun though, like just in terms of the character and the personality for sure.
There've been some really good matches I've enjoyed watching him play, but I don't think he's come out as a winner on most of them.
Yeah, that's probably also true. Just like trying to beat a top seed and eventually succumbing to them in like the basically the same way time and time again. He did have a very good record against Federer, though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, one of those matches was the 2014 US Open quarterfinal, which
yeah,
he had the 2 match points.
2 match points, not much to say on either, but still a big opportunity nonetheless. Marin Cilic in the semis, Kei Nishikori in the final. Who knows? I mean, Cilic was probably unbeatable that week, but still.
There was also that Rio Olympics match that he played with Kei. That was well, 2016 in general was just a very good year for Monfils.
Oh yeah, I mean, best of his
and
career,
played
I
so many
think.
good matches. And 2020 was going really well until that Dubai semifinal with Novak.
Yeah, today pretty weird match indeed for Medjedovic against Piros. I mean, Medjedovic won like 59% of his first serve points, I think, and that was still enough for a 6-3, 6-3 win. I watched Medjedovic and Piros play each other in Sekesha Hervar 2 years ago, and it was a very different encounter. But well, he moves on to the semis. Does Lerner Tien get past Ugo Carabelli? I mean, phrasing a question like this, my answer has to be yes, because he's a massive favorite in that match. Do I think he has to? I mean, it's kind of just like the match Lerner played with Kovalik in the final qualies round. Like if Ugo Carabelli can just forget about the fact that a serve exists, a return exists, and they're just playing this like massive dogfight for 3.5 hours, then yeah, I think Ugo Carabelli can beat Tien. But Kovalik wasn't able to do that. Like Kovalik was just, I think he created one breakpoint. That was the very last game of the match. So if you're doing that against Lerner, you're not winning. And like that's kind of where it lies for me. But just like strictly percentage-wise, odds-wise, Lerner is a massive favorite. Yes, I mean it's one of the best draws you could get. Coria was probably even better. McCabe was better out of the qualifiers. I mean, out of what the qualifiers could have drawn.
Do you remember that 5-setter that he played against Karatsev in what is it, first round of Roland Garros?
Yeah, first round of Roland Garros.
2022.
Yeah, then vomiting the next day, and then against Felix, he was just unable to compete at all. He actually has like I think he's unbeaten in matches that lasted over 3 hours and 50 minutes or something like that, and he's 4-0 in matches like that.
But he's only played one. That's the only 5-setter he's played, I think.
Yeah, that was best of 5, but he actually has 2 over 4-hour-long matches, best of 3 as well. So
that's right. Yeah.
I think at the end of last year, he also won a match that lasted 3 hours 48 or something like that against Gian Meza. So yeah, I mean, he's a Martin man. If he can get Lerner into that sort of a massive battle where serves just don't matter at all, yeah, sure. I don't think he is unable to beat him in that sort of scenario. But if Lerner can keep it just like nice and clean like he did against Kovalik, then
Yes, indeed. And then we could have a showdown with him and Medvedev in round 2.
I mean, to call it a showdown, no, I get what you mean, but I don't know.
A very good experience.
Yeah, that's true. Fonseca Rublev is a showdown.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's like prime time. That should be a night match on Margaret Court Arena at least. Depending on which other stars are there.
There was a brief, like, dangerous moment on the Basavareddy serve a second ago, but he found the unreturned serve and then a very sharp angle on the +1 forehand as well. And now Monfils is once again getting pushed 15-30, this long rally, trying to go for the inside out backhand, missing it. I mean, every single Monfils game so far has been tough with 1 breakpoint each for Nishesh, so we're just kind of continuing in that vein.
The conditions look quite brutal today, I feel like, in Auckland. I don't know what the temperature is. I can see both guys are sweating profusely.
That's true.
Monfils is kind of always sweating.
Yeah, but Monfils is already also, I'm not really sure, like holding himself up with his racket between the points, which is also something he does, like literally in the first game sometimes. But yeah, it does seem like both are, well, just struggling physically, even at this very early stage of this match.
Yeah. And I would say if you're the opponent, don't fall into that trap of believing Monfils is always exhausted because, well, he can always surprise you the very next points.
The famous exchange between Andrei Rublev and Gael Monfils, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Mhm.
Cincinnati 2021.
I mean, Rublev just said what everybody is thinking, but never really, had the guts to. But well, of course, it ended amicably. They hugged or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of breakpoints, there's going to be more of that action as well. However, Monfils putting away the +1 forehand. Had to really wait for Basavareddy's return to come down to earth. It was a massive, massive lob in a way, but well, he managed to make it work. But yeah, I mean, after almost every point, Monfils is now kind of just
Yeah, he's hunched over.
Yeah, he's trademark in a way.
And that's when you usually, you sometimes see him go for those low percentage shots where he will pull the trigger from a position that's, supposed to be a defensive one, or he'll try to kind of overcompensate, or sometimes he'll just not get low on a backhand like he did at 30 all,
Yeah, and very often these shots actually end up working out great for him. And these are the ones that kind of take your breath away and make you think what sort of a player he is.
But then look at what he does on 30, 40 down, he just blasts the forehand. And there's nothing you can really do.
Yeah. Even if there was so much time for Basavareddy to recover after the return. And well, I mean, the story just repeats itself. 3-2 Monfils with 1 breakpoint save every single game. We'll see if Nishesh is going to pay for that at some point, because these are now quite a few opportunities for him.
He's getting some second serve looks. Nishesh also does a really good job of taking the backhand return early, and then he gets he can take it on the rise. And I just love his backhand in general. It feels very already complete in all different ways.
Some Julia Grabher shade there from Flying Yogi, but nah, I mean, of course, she's playing slams, so people know her for sure. Jumping forehands can actually work really well, and players don't try them enough to create an angle. And
I'll tell you who does. Thomas Mahach. He's very good.
Yeah, I was going to say Thomas Mahach agrees with you, clearly.
Yeah. But yeah, Monfils does hold, but he's having to work so hard right now. And let's see if psychologically that's going to hurt Nishesh later, or it's going to, or it just means that eventually Nishesh might get that break he's looking for. Kind of hard to tell, actually. Could go either way right now. But we're 5 games in, and it's pretty competitive.
Nurlan, I'm not going to make another Maya joint joke, but, she is for real. She is the best Australian prospect probably right now. At least of the ones that, like Emerson Jones, you're mentioning her, she's just barely playing on the Pro Tour so far, right? So I'm just saying of the ones that we kind of watch every single week. Truthfully, I can't really speak much about Emerson Jones, as I know her achievements from last year in the juniors, but I wasn't really following these girls singles events too much last year.
But yes, Maya joint definitely looks like the real deal, and it'd be very fun to watch her play Pagula in the first round of Australia. But they're both playing this week as well in the semis. Pagula in Adelaide, and then Maya joint in Hobart.
Yeah, I might try to catch Maya joint, but otherwise I'm not really sure when I'll be sleeping yet and how much I'll be sleeping. But if I can, I will try at the very least. Definitely not. I can't join for Korda Kecmanovic though. Yeah, just not gonna work out with the times. That makes a lot of sense, Yogi, as well. That you never realized, with Grabher that people can make puns from that name. If you're so used to it, right? But yeah, in English, I think definitely there's a few good in there. I mean, congrats, Brazy. I mean, good luck to you watching Habib against Buyun Chowkete. I guess I might catch that too. More for Habib than for Bu, I suppose. For Bu, well, although actually, has he won a slam match? No, I guess he played Casper Ruud at the US Open, so it's a big story, I guess, for both. So I should probably watch it then.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It was like 6-2 and 2. But he played a good first set.
7-6, 6-2, 6-2, yeah. Is Monfils hurt or is his shoe just playing up? Well, it's kind of the Monfils deal. Like, he's always gonna be like this. Look like he doesn't have any energy left, but then run in the points. It's just kind of what you have to be aware of, I guess. Both as an opponent and as a fan. We'll see if the story once again repeats itself, as we are now arriving at the 7th game of this opener. And of course, so far, every single Monfils service game, Basavareddy had exactly 1 breakpoint, and of course didn't take any of them.
Yes.
What did we think about the 1-point slam? I think first to 2 points win by 2 would work even better, Saskin. Yeah, but that would go against like the whole, foundation of the event. Like if you went win by 2 and first to 2, the event goes from, I don't know, 45 minutes to probably 2.5 hours.
Do you know who ended up actually winning it?
Omar Jessica.
Oh, okay. I don't know where to watch it, actually.
I don't know where to watch it, but on the Australian Open Twitter, there were like most of the matches were posted there.
Yeah.
At least the most important ones. So like the upsets in the early rounds. It was a pretty fun thing to watch, to honestly. I mean, yesterday, obviously, I was mostly following the qualifying. So, but yeah, I mean, I just scrolled through the timeline at some point, and it was cool. Like the recreational players, they were trying to serve and volley for the most part. The guy that eliminated Seibov Wild, he just like approached the net after he served. He played a great half volley and then a backhand overhead volley. So like there's not much that Thiago can do in that serve point. There was this guys that I think hit 2 consecutive aces to beat 2 professional players. Hurkacz and Rublev, they lost on double faults, I think. And there were a couple of crazy rallies, including the one, the match point, the championship point, sort of, because it was the final between Jessica and Priscilla Hon. I like the comparison that Keen made. Not comparison, but like the take that Keen made to me in a DM today, that it was like a very classic Jessica point, because he can probably finish this off 10 times if he just decides to go line at some point or take any risk. But instead, he's just like massaging the ball. But then again, if you think about it, he's playing for $60,000. I don't know what the runner-up fee was, but
that's actually pretty good. That makes it worth it. $60K.
Yeah. I mean, he would have been playing that point, like, regardless. If you just got Omar Jessica on my court, sort of like, somewhere here outside my window, he would also be massaging the ball. But, that makes sense that he's not really changing that strategy, even though it's a fun exhibition event. But, I mean, yeah, I'm enjoying the kind of the idea of it, certainly. A lot of players who lost in the qualifying, a lot of Australians who lost in the qualifying were, appeared there. So like Cabrera, Kubler, Bolt, Priscilla Hon, and etc. No, actually, Priscilla Hon might have a wild card, or does she? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, all of these players who like kind of were simply there in Melbourne available. I enjoyed it. I wish it wasn't on the same day as the qualifying, though. Maybe I would watch it like in its entirety somewhere if it wasn't.
Yeah. They do something like this in Indian Wells. It's like the tiebreak tents. Different idea, but they do that the week before. They do that the same time as qualies, actually. And it's quite popular. Although it's mostly you'll get like doubles. You'll get like a lot of mixed doubles with the top players. But I like the idea of playing just 1 point and then having other non-professional players participate. I think it's cool.
Yeah, for a while, Zizou Berg's like his main career achievement was winning tiebreak tens, but thankfully already he has
who was his partner?
many more achievements now. No, it was a singles one.
It
I
was
don't
a
think it was
singles
the
one,
Indian
okay.
Wells one as well. I think it was like more October-ish or something like that. But like the
Oh, it was
payout
the October
compared
edition.
to the
That-
payout compared to anything else that he had earned by that point, because he was like an alternate into that event. Yeah, it was insane.
Nice.
Yeah, you could say that, Sean. Yeah, you could say that. I saw a comment somewhere that I was going to reply to, but anyway, I don't see it now. But yes, that was a Liverpool shirt, yeah. To whoever asked that question somewhere, because I'm now struggling to see it, but there was a question about it in the chat I saw. Oh, it was you. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, okay, that's why. Because I was looking at the comments from like not you, but from everybody else. But yeah, that was a Liverpool shirt. Yes. It's completely random. I don't care about Liverpool, but I have one for whatever reason. I have a Celtic one as well. I have a lot of like Real Madrid as well, I think.
Yeah. So we played 4 service games for Monfils so far. How many points do you think he's played on his serve?
No, first one was like 6, then it was again kind of like 6, 8-ish, and I think now it was like 5. So my guess would be around, let's say, no, sorry, not 6, but 8. I wanted to say in the first game, and then 8, and then maybe in one he played 10. So I would probably say that my guess has to be 31.
Okay, you're pretty close. 34.
Oh, okay.
So he's won 21 out of 34 service points, whereas Basavareddy was 12 for 15 before this game started. So yeah, Monfils has played more than double the amount of service points, basically. And it looks like this is going to be another easy hold. Looks like it.
Okay, so Hon went out to Birel in the second round of qualifying. Sure. I saved it when I said I don't care about Liverpool. Okay. Why do I have these jerseys if I don't support the team? I mean, I didn't buy them. I think like my mom likes to go like secondhand to secondhand shops, so I have a lot of clothing like this, which I didn't buy, but I don't mind wearing it at all.
You go thrifting.
I don't, but my mom does, which is great actually.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't really do it for like ecological purposes, rather for economical ones. But it saves me a lot of time because I hate clothes in general. Like I just think clothes are there so that we don't feel cold. I don't want to express myself through clothes really, so I'm just one of these people. So.
Damn. Is that going to be put on a YouTube short or something?
I don't know. I mean, it's an opinion I've shared with many people in the past. I don't know if they laughed at me or not, but apparently one of them.
Don't know if your future girlfriend will like that.
My former girlfriend did not. I can tell you that. She was kind of like.
I'm not surprised.
I've learned some stuff from this relationship, also related to this. That basically there are some like fundamentals of who I am, and they shouldn't be influenced by anybody else. Like I shouldn't let anybody influence them, and that's one of these fundamentals. Like my very non-materialistic attitude is part of it. Anyway, 5-4 Monfils. He's speeding up. He heard Vansh asking me that small trivia question about the match, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, I gotta work something out because in this heat, I'm probably not gonna last like this." And 5-4 Monfils. So we can say that already Basavareddy. That was not intended. But anyway, we can say that Nishesh already has been kind of punished for not taking these breakpoints, as he will now face a lot of pressure after the changeover.
Yeah, finally Monfils just like decided I'm just gonna win a ton of free points on my serve right after that stat. Well, I definitely had a similar phase to you where like I just didn't care too much about the clothes that I was wearing, and that was mostly during the pandemic when we couldn't go out anywhere, and I kind of just was like, what's even the point of dressing up and wearing really good clothes if we're all just going to be at home the whole time? And then kind of had to readjust. Like 2 years later, I was like, oh, okay, I actually have to look like more professional-ish going to class and stuff. But I totally get it. Because I also had this phase where like I bought so many clothes that like from like 2014 to 2021 or 2022, I did not need to go to the store ever, or like shop online, or like do any kind of Black Friday thing, because I just had clothes that were either too big for me at the time that I could now wear, or I just overstocked like crazy at one point.
Yeah, I've got so much, like I've got so many clothes as well that I don't think I'm gonna buy any for the next 5 years. Shoes I buy regularly because that's something that I can't really like overcome in any way. But yeah, clothes. I mean, I have a good stock for the next 5 years, unless my like physique drastically changes. But I'm not planning that. So.
But like, yeah, when you go on dates and stuff, and we get into a relationship, it's like that suddenly changes your whole worldview about this. It did for me anyway.
Well, speaking of that, actually not speaking of that, speaking of something completely different, which is the match. Basavareddy is now about to serve at 4-5 and gets the first point with another kind of like good short angle, opening up the court for a net, for a move to the net. I do kind of feel like I'm watching Sebastian Corda sometimes in this one.
He does have shades of Corda in his game, Maybe we don't talk about that enough. He does have a little bit of Corda and Goffin, and I see like a mix of a lot of players,
It's not just 99% Novak.
No, I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Like, I don't immediately think Novak, when I watch him play. I'm like, I can see that he's modeled his game around him, but it's not like super obvious immediately.
Yeah, I mean, tactics are very different generally, so.
Yeah. I mean, he's also just intending to be way more offensive, Lurali, and he doesn't obviously have that kind of movement to just be like, okay, I'll just be super, super solid right from the first return. It's maybe more of a proactive mindset than Novak, actually.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Just like, and also like, I don't know, like you're not gonna see Novak throwing in these slices or, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's less, I don't even know how to call it, but like creative freedom in Novak's game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like something that like evolved over time, because at first Novak was also less Basavareddy, let's say. Yeah, I was gonna think about that women's singles tie of the round, because the ones that you mentioned, to be honest with you, I'm not too excited for either. I did read the thread that John wrote about the women's matches. I don't think I've seen the men's matches yet, but I did see that thread from you. And Noskova Towson indeed sounds really good. I think a lot of people are
Stephens I'm not too excited for. I think Stephens I'm kind of writing her off.
I mean, I don't really care about that. Kenyon Goff is like exactly what we were talking about on the draw preview, right? That like Goff is so strong right now that I don't really know if I see her losing.
I can see Kenyon bringing a higher level, but I just don't see how it will impact competitiveness of it that much. Towson, Noskova for sure. Joint Pagula, maybe. I mean, there's like some good ones. There's Alexandrova Raducanu. I'm just kind of curious to see what that looks like.
A lot of people are mentioning Avanesian Putintseva as well.
Yeah, that's one to watch for sure.
But yeah, Towson Noskova, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that shout for sure. Todoni against Zheng. Maybe. Am I stretching a bit here? I don't know. Oh, Benji Jostapenko you also had in that thread, John, right? So yeah, that's another really good one. And yeah, now it's on the screen.
Stars Navarro, I guess, too. I saw that Navarro leads that head-to-head 4-0, but of course, a lot of those were also ITF matches. I think there was one final in there too.
Have I ever had to wear a tuxedo? Yes. I mean, for prom, for I guess maybe only for this. Oh, there were also these like exams. I don't know what exactly like the after basically at the end of high school, the end of high school exams and prom, which is more or less at the same time. So that helped because I only had to wear this one suit or tuxedo or whatever. But yeah, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I don't even have I don't even have it with me here. It's in my hometown. I don't want to wear it anymore ever again. Maybe I will have to at some point. Funerals, sometimes you have to like get dressed like properly. So I really like funerals in the winter because then you're just taking like this huge jacket and no one knows what you're wearing under it. I mean, I don't really like funerals, but if I have to go to a funeral, then winter.
Pedro versus Jinyu Wang is a good shout, actually. Maybe slightly overlooked, but I like that John included that in his thread.
Which Wang is that? I always mix them up.
The righty Wang.
The righty one.
Righty
okay.
is 5 letters, and
so that's the one that played Pegula at Wimbledon.
Yeah, the one who beat Pegula.
That was a good match. That was a good match. Yeah. And the lefty one is the one that won a title over Linette, I think.
Yeah.
So you see, I mean, I don't recognize them by their hands or by anything else, but I recognize them by by that one of them beat Magdalena. Anyway, 40-15 for Monfils here. There was some brief sort of like counter attack from Nishesh, but he kind of goes a bit too much on the drop shot here. Once again, he's more relying on the drop shot a bit too much at deuce.
This is some really big hitting from Nishesh, and then he's going to go to the drop shot again. This point at deuce, but this time Monfils, I think he telegraphed it a little bit too much, and Monfils was too quick. And that was not really going to get it done. I'm not sure the drop shot was the best choice there, but because I love the way he played the point before that. You're just like opening up the court so much with the angles and good hitting. But that was maybe another opportunity.
I'm a big Ghosty. I'm a big fan of Yuan. Yeah, I very much second that. But she's playing Pavlyuchenkova, right? That's a decent match. I like that too.
She could do with a good result. She has the Austin title and the Indian Wells quarterfinal, I think, coming up to defend.
One healthy season from Towson, yeah, that would be good, but I don't know if it's ever going to happen, to be honest. Like, anytime I see her, she just has so much tape, so much, you can just see she's opening it up.
The back problem she had was pretty serious, and it still, to my knowledge, flares up from time to time, which is not great.
I'm not gonna repeat this anecdote because I think I already did at one of the shows recently. But when I saw somebody at an event from a very long distance, and I'm like, who is this player who has the entire leg taped? And then I come closer and I see it's Clara Towson, and I'm like, okay, I get that. Yeah, sure, that makes a lot of sense. Keen, I very much understand your sentiment about Liam Draxl as well. I think he absolutely is barely top 600 talent, but he also has insane heart for the game and dedication and grit. But his shots. I was actually thinking about this because he's playing Molleker tomorrow. If you got Draxl's mentality and Molleker's talent, we would have an excellent player. He would be in the top 50 already if we combine.
Talk about an underachiever, dude. Rudolf Molleker, what an underachiever! What an underachiever! Maybe one of the biggest the last 7 years. Because I watched him play in 2018. I watched him in juniors in Wimbledon, I think.
Nice.
Or was it Wimbledon or was it? Yeah, I think it might have been Wimbledon.
When he was 17, he won the Heilbronn Challenger, winning like 4 matches from a set down.
Actually, he played Ferrer, I think, in Bashad or something like that, and it was like a very competitive
Ferrer
match.
was his second ATP Tour win, yeah.
And he beat Ferrer that year. I mean, okay, it was declining Ferrer, but still.
So yeah, Molleker, of course, didn't make the Australian Open qualifying. It's actually like I think, I don't know, maybe this is just recency bias, but this year I feel like at the very beginning of the season, there's just so many big names that didn't do enough to make Australia qualifying. So you've got like Karatsev, Prismic, Molleker, JJ Wolf, and all of them are at like 260, 250, 240, 270 in the rankings. It's kind of wild. Especially as a lot of these players actually did well in Australia in the past, right? You've got JJ Wolf, 4th round. You've got Dino Prismic, who had that match against Djokovic. You've got Karatsev, who made the semis. Molleker, maybe not so much, but I think he qualified for Australia in 2019. So,
do you ever see Wolf having like another mini resurgence, like ever getting back to the top 75? I think. Is that doable for him? Like, it's definitely doable, right? He's got the talent.
Yeah, I think he kind of has too much quality to not to come back, but also, well, we don't know everything that's like happening in terms of his.
He hit the shot of the year in 2022. The left-handed pass against Tsitsipas in Miami.
I was actually thinking about this recently because for a brief while, like everybody knew that shot, and now because of where JJ is, like if he never comes back to the main tour, I think it's gonna be a situation where like you're gonna mention this shot to somebody and they're gonna say, "Who? JJ Wolf? Who the hell is that?" They're gonna be like Ghosty when Keen mentions some sort of like a top 500 player, and Ghosty says that he is just coming up with these names. He's just like, no, these aren't real players. I mean, JJ Wolf sounds very unrealistic too.
Yeah. Oh wow, the footwork from Monfils on that point, that last point of the 12th game, just like kind of mailed it in.
Has Novak ever hit the shot of the year? I mean, depends how you look at it, but I think in many ways the return against Federer was the shot of the year.
Oh yeah, probably.
It's not the most impressive shot just in general, but circumstances and everything, story.
And that return was right on the line.
Yeah, we had to see a close call of that.
Monfils is not buying it though. He does not agree.
Gael went to the Ostapenko school of not believing the Hawkeye
like he's
system.
And chatting with us, but it's kind of more just yeah, I mean there's nothing you can do really. It's electronic line call.
If he misses, we get Rafa Roger at the US Open. Yes.
Yeah, we do. Actually, strangely, the only time that Novak has beaten Roger and Rafa back to back to win a slam was that tournament. No, Rafa was not in the final because I remember Rafa versus Andy was the second semi.
So yeah, there still would have been space for Rafa to just lose on purpose to Andy to avoid playing Roger, just like people were saying in 2013 at the US Open, Federer lost to Robredo.
Oh yeah.
Well, eventually that return right on the line will not be deciding the entire tiebreak for Basavareddy, as he missed the +1 backhand, or actually it wasn't +1, but just basically sprayed the backhand wide on the next point. However, 2-1 for now. This tiebreak already has been very long, despite just 3 points, because of the whole dispute and everything.
Yeah. Feels like a very important set for. I wonder if Monfils is going to be that motivated if he loses this set. Let's see. It's definitely more important for Basavareddy to win this match right now than Gael.
At this point of Gael's career, I guess you kind of have to wonder whether, it's even worth it for him to kind of look at the Australian Open ahead and think, oh, I don't want to tire myself out here. What is he going to do in Australia? But for Nishesh, I mean, it's just very clear that this is one of the biggest matches of his career, probably the biggest. So
yeah, it reminds me a little bit of, I think, 2021 when you had Sinner playing those marathon matches in the Murray River Open or whatever those tournaments were, and then you knew he was playing Chapeau in the first round, but you knew it was almost more important for him to win ATP title than actually go on a run in Australia.
Yeah, but I mean, he won that, didn't he?
He did, and
the entire event.
He would probably not have any regrets. Yeah, he won that, and then I think he lost to Chapeau in 5 in the first round. Oh yeah, that was the one. That was the one where Dennis had that funny line because the umpire wouldn't let him go to the restroom. So he was like, "What? Do you want me to pee in a bottle?"
I think the best Shapovalov line is against Sonego in Rome, though.
Yeah, in Rome. Yeah, when he tells the crowd.
I love it. It's one of my favorite clips for sure.
Yeah,
I feel for him there. I don't think he's acting like an asshole. Of course, he kind of overreacts, but it's very tough to even have that conversation with the umpire there with everything that's happening in the stands. So I do feel for him there.
Oh, this was another one of those redirects that I thought Nishesh would make, but he couldn't quite get it over the net. Monfils is all hunched over. 3-2 mini break.
Yeah, this tiebreak is really. I feel like it's been already 10 minutes since it began. We just aren't getting that many points. Monfils is just trying to stretch it out as soon as as much as possible.
Hitting some strong shots though from the corner and just kind of blasting the ball from defensive positions. Just trying to hang in somehow. Well, it definitely takes some guts and talent to pull off shots like that when you're dying, supposedly physically. But this is also why you'll see a lot of times Monfils would play a really close first set against the Big Four in the 2010s, and then just kind of, you knew if he doesn't win that set, the gas tank would be close to empty. Used to happen to him sometimes in best of 3, and sometimes in after a couple of sets, kind of depending on how the match is going. But although, like I said, he did have some very good wins against Federer. He beat Federer 4 times, I think.
Very good record against Roger, yeah. Davis Cup, of course, that didn't end up being too important, but still. Monte Carlo, he beat him as well.
Yeah.
There's 2 more, I think, yeah.
Paris Masters.
Paris, obviously, yeah. Paris, that was huge for him.
Yeah.
Considering what happened later, yeah. Or rather, actually, just the fact that he got to that final. And I guess there's one more that I can't think of right now. Was there a Shanghai match? Maybe I think so, right? Shanghai
2013, probably. Yeah, 2013. Oh yeah, because that would have given us Federer Djokovic, I think, in the quarters or something. But then Monfils beat Federer.
Well, this is a very important tiebreak, as Vansh said, and it's also very unpredictable. I don't know if Monfils really said that he's so hot and so old, but he does look like it today. He's really just taking so much time now. I think at some point it has to result in some time violations
Time
because
violation, yeah.
he's stretching it really to an
Oh,
extent
he's
that I
definitely
don't think is
pushing it.
acceptable. Yeah.
Some of these cross-court returns are pretty good from Nishesh off the first serve. He has a good idea of how to play these baseline points. It's just a matter of can he just kind of stay with Gael here. Oh, and he does here. He wins that long rally at 4-all. So now it's on his racket. 2 serves.
I guess that's kind of like the interesting part with Monfils most of the time, though. Like, if we know that he's going to be tired, he might just start slapping the ball around. And in many cases, that's actually working out better for him.
It makes him more dangerous sometimes because he just knows he's just going to go for it. And do you remember that match against Nishikori in 2017 before Nishikori went on his injury break? Like he had that injury with his elbow. Was it in Canada or something? Yeah, Canada 2017, where he just like saved 4 match points and he was just.
I actually had this match in mind like for the past 20 minutes, but I don't think it's 2017. I think it's much later, isn't it?
No, I think it's 17. I think it would be 17 Canada, probably.
Really? I thought it was like, I don't know, 4 years later, 3 years later.
I remember that was the last match K played that year before he got the. Yeah, before he like had elbow.
Because I was thinking about these match point saves. Yeah, I was just sort of like placing this on the timeline much later.
Yeah, if you want to watch like why people have been so, like if you just want to watch a Monfils highlight, that's his best one, I would say.
Yeah, it's a very cool one for sure.
Like if you want to get an idea what Monfils is all about in terms of why people say like
he's gonna have a set point here as well.
Yeah. Was it? I feel like it was 2017, but you can look it up later. Okay, I'm gonna watch this set point for Monfils.
Yeah, it was 2017 indeed.
It's like it does feel more recent though, you're right, in terms of perception.
I feel like he was already like, struggling to get to shots and he was already struggling between the points and everything. But yeah, it's a Monfils story. But yeah, Basavareddy really did not step up in the last few points of this breaker. I mean, some of that is again just very good defending from Monfils. Yeah, but also the shot selection. Yeah. Once again,
a couple of times where I feel like he's really he could have been more patient in terms of how he
fair few points in this tiebreak where like Nishesh gets the first strike for sure, and then you just feel like he might easily take this point from there. But it's just never that simple, I guess, against Gael. And
he can make you doubt yourself sometimes with the criticism and also the way he's kind of playing these points and his body language as well. He can kind of lull you into that mode.
Nishesh has a lot of options generally, but choosing the best one, still a bit work.
That's right. 3 winners and 3 unforced errors. No way.
What do you mean? 8 winners and
3 winners and 3 unforced? What is this tennis TV dude doing?
Nah, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the stats that came up after the first set. 3 winners, 3 unforced for both players. Yeah, somebody definitely messed this up.
Oh, for both players even? No, then definitely that's not right. I was thinking like maybe for Monfils, but still there was this redrop he had. The forehand winner +1. Yeah, I don't think so.
And there were like 4 aces as well, so that should also count.
And thank you, John, of course, for the membership. Indeed, a solid tweener or a left-handed forehand from Monfils, and he's definitely gonna get better energy-wise. And yeah, it feels even bigger, I think, for him to win this opening set, all things considered. If he lost this opener, yeah, I kind of would have been feeling like, yeah, Nishesh probably will break the top 100 today. Nishesh probably will get this final. But now, well, even if he's kind of like sleeping on the court for the next 30 minutes, he'll still have his chances, Monfils.
Yep, it definitely has more of a cushion where he can maybe even strategically take the middle or end of the second set off if he's not feeling it, and then just come alive in the third. I could see something like that for sure.
See ya, John.
Yep, thanks a lot, John. That's really nice.
Oh no, just the mention of the website in the chat, or rather in the comments on Twitter, just kind of instantly reminded me of that piece we were laughing at this tonight. And I'm not don't mean it in like a, any sort of like malicious way that we were laughing at Nick and what he wrote, but it was just good memes with the minimum goal and
it very much is in line with what we know about him in terms of his.
Yeah, and also we kind of started like taking it in different directions there. The subscription count, like minimum expectation, reach 13K by the end of the year and everything. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that part of the draw. Of the draw preview, show, selection, analysis, whatever. I see someone in the chat also really enjoyed Eddie's participation there. Ghosty, you should know Denis Yevseyev actually. Denis Yevseyev, I mean, last year he won a main tour match, then he in Bostadt, I think, beating Mr. Alexander Miller, so the recent champion in Marrakesh, then had his chances against Carballes Baena too. Although I probably understand if you do not know Kaiichi Uchida. Once a pretty high ceiling though, 2 challenger titles, I believe. OA Rush 2022 and 2021 Rio de Janeiro, I think. But yeah, I don't know, Keen, if I'm going to be watching Yevseyev Uchida. You definitely enjoy more like random doubles than me. Rublev to blow up against Fonseca, but I want to see an epic 5-setter. What's like the meaning of blow up here? So like, get into one of his tantrums or...
Yeah, like the meltdown on court, or
yeah, I guess.
I personally don't enjoy those. That's my least favorite part about watching Andre. Especially when he keeps on hitting himself with the racket. Like, nah, I don't want to watch that. Hopefully, he finds a better way to.
Okay, so you do mean the meltdowns, okay?
Oh, okay.
This would have been perfect chance
I'm
for.
I'm perfectly fine if he smashes his racket.
What? Where?
But I hate the hitting your knee repeatedly and drawing blood. I just hate watching that. So I hope he figures that out.
Yeah, Ghosty, but is it an unnecessary?
Yeah, I don't think it was unnecessary. I think he was just getting outplayed there.
Exactly. Like Rublev is just getting blasted off the court there for 2.5 sets by Thiago Seybothwell. And that's actually a way to victory for Fonseca, sort of, because, well, Andre doesn't have any options in terms of...
with how strong Fonseca is on return. Like, he can just go to work on Rublev's second serve a lot of the time and just get the upper hand and rallies.
And Andre doesn't have too many like options in terms of mixing up pace, really switching it up so that the redlining opponent starts struggling.
He also has that sliding backhand on lock right now, like the way Sinner does. And that's that's not something Andre has in his repertoire for sure. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just like emotion and like logic and everything don't coincide here, because obviously Fonseca, like he has never played a 5-setter, and Rublev has played so many in his life that like, I still would favor him, but it's like very close. Like, I think even closer than 60-40. I'd put it at like, I don't know, 55. 545, 53-47. Like it's definitely one to watch. Maybe the
Elo
most.
is playing 50-48 Rublev.
Yeah,
Is it a
think
bit harsh on Andre? Perhaps given the best of
Maybe.
5, but I don't think Elo accounts for that, right? So
but also Andre's only played one match this year, right? So he's
yes, and he got
didn't
blown
have
out
the
by a
whole run.
somewhat similar opponent. Not very similar to Fonseca, I guess, but just in the same mold as like Sabov pushing him for 2.5 sets, Marozsan coming out and being Marozsan. Like it's the same. It's very much possible against Andre. I don't know. I feel like it's obviously a match that no one knows what to do with in terms of analyzing it, because we just are working on very limited info. But when I saw that, I think Elo has Fonseca at 27 now. That doesn't sound unrealistic. And the reality is, I mean, when I looked at the list at like who's above him, there's still like Kokinakis or Thompson. So there's no way Kokinakis and Thompson are better players than Fonseca right now, I think. So it's probably even a few spots higher.
27. Wow, that's like a good prediction for like his year-end ranking, maybe.
I will take it as a compliment, Keen. If Sabov is the only person in the world with an active hatred for me, then that's good. That means that most people don't mind me. I'm absolutely fine with that if that's the case. We basically, I don't know if the why is that question is related to that, but yeah, we basically had a bit of a misunderstanding during an interview, let's say. But obviously now it's Keen is like hyperboling it. Like definitely, Thiago Sabovil does not remember who I am. It just ended a bit poorly, our short talk. And yeah, the 25k indoors in France. I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, any event like this would be really good, but I don't know why he's not playing it. After the qualies, honestly, I'm not really sure what to tell you about the speed of the courts in Australia. I mean, it seems just like medium fast, like last year. Hadi Habib's serve was pretty much unbreakable until the first set against Zidek, but that's normal. But there wasn't like any super. There weren't any clashes. Like I don't know, no one can break, and players are winning 5% return points. Not really. Unless you mean Kovacevic Colarini, but I'm pretty sure that was just Kova struggling against even a very poor but still lefty serve. Anyway, we're back. Basavareddy already with a quick hold. Again, I said Basavareddy already. This is horrible. It's a beautiful tennis surname, Basavareddy. So many good puns with it, but sometimes when you don't want it, it also kind of... Well, actually, it's the same case for Ledner too.
Oh yeah, everyone is just kind of overdoing the learner puns.
Yeah, because even if you don't want to do them, it just naturally comes up so often. Maya joined though. That's a good surname.
There are definitely some tough names to spell, that's for sure. Cole Schreiber was one I always had trouble with.
Yeah, people outside, people like not from around here, they struggle with Gojovczyk a lot.
Yeah, that one was hard.
I'm not saying Gojovczyk is a typical Polish word or Polish surname, but like the sheer combinations of letters, like they aren't anything unusual here. So that one is like super obvious for me. But yeah, it just depends obviously from where you're from. I don't know if there's a particular one that I really struggle with right now. I used to hate Tomljanovic's name. Like I never knew which letter is first, J or L.
Oh yeah.
From the moment I learned how to spell Yevan Nedun Hezian, though nothing is scary for me anymore. No, there's definitely at least one that I'm
Camille
always.
Washrock is like always hard. That's one I always struggle with.
again,
Like the
not for,
Z and it's like J and
not for me. But this is actually a pretty typical name. So if you're Polish, it's super easy.
right. There's that back end of the line from Nishesh to make it 30 all. I haven't seen too many of those today, actually.
Yeah, some good signs in this first Monfils service game of the second set for Basavareddy. He's definitely returning a bit more aggressively if he can. I mean, some of the firepower as well, though, on the Monfils +1 forehand is still huge. Just like the opening set when we had that one point where he was waiting for the return for like 15 seconds and then still put it away.
Yep. This is a good return. You really want to see Nishesh like up on that baseline attacking Monfils' second serve and just not getting lulled into those patterns where he's forced to come up with something spectacular to win the point or like go for a drop shot that he doesn't need to go for. But the question is, can he do it on break point or can he do it at deuce? Because so far, Monfils has played those points better when he's been under pressure more on his serve.
%97% of people mispronounce Marta Domachowska. Maybe, but is it like that much tougher than most of these other Polish names with W's? Obviously, people mispronounce W's in Polish because they're different than most other languages. I don't know.
It's that backhand where he like steps in and he kind of takes it shoulder height. It's very what's even the comp for it? I can't. It's just his own thought. I mean, of course, there's others who would do it, but that's kind of the trademark for me when he has to step into a backhand mid court.
Yeah, Ghosty, I'm afraid unforced error stats for this match just won't exist, really.
Yeah, it's a 250, and they don't do a really great job with that. You kind of just have to rely on. I'm surprised they even have winners and unforced errors for this. I thought it was only 500 and above.
We are on Twitch as well, yes, indeed. I don't think the streams get that much attention there, but I mean, basically it's automatic, so there's no reason not to.
Or we're gonna do next one, Alexander Muller, and I'm kidding, because Alexander Muller has an OnlyFans account, or I don't know if he has an account.
Yeah.
But, like,
I don't know if an account, but he is sponsored by OnlyFans.
Yeah, which is pretty funny. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was an article about this somewhere. I just don't remember now. But... And why not? If from Miller's position, like
Bumble.
at least up until recently, he really couldn't be too picky when it comes to sponsors. So it's absolutely fine for him.
Bumble is the dating app where the girls make the first move.
What?
Supposedly.
Mm-hmm. There's a slogan like this.
Well, I mean, it's just known that like Bumble is generally the one where like as a guy you don't have to be the one to take the first step, whereas I think on the other dating apps you pretty much do.
I think Poland is very Tinder heavy.
Yeah, Tinder is big here too, but personally that's not as useful. Depends on what you want, right? You want a short-term relationship or a long-term relationship? It varies.
I don't know. I'm not on the dating apps, but I know it's super popular here.
Anyways, back to the match.
Yeah, we're not on Tinder.
No,
I mean,
definitely
as a
not.
channel, as a channel. I meant as a channel. Yeah, I also laughed about that useful thing, Ghosty. That's why I followed up a bit. We really are letting people know a lot today, but
I should probably keep my mouth shut.
I kind of have this philosophy where, like, if someone asks, like, I will probably tell them almost anything. I'm not
Yeah.
embarrassed by pretty much anything. So
I didn't say whether or not I'm on any of these sites. I just have a lot of friends who are. So
there should be a tennis dating site.
there really should be.
I don't know, Ghosty, about these rules. I mean, definitely putting on a lighter shirt is not a problem, but there's definitely like something there about equipment that you cannot wear for this reason or another.
Mhm.
But about coloring strictly, definitely not. I mean, you can wear whatever you want.
So, Deluded Steve has a question for you.
Hope it's not too deluded. Who was my first WTA tennis crush? I can actually answer that for sure. Anna Ivanovic.
Oh my god, we have the same one. But I mean, it's a very popular answer.
Yeah, it's a super popular
Yes.
answer. But yeah, she was my favorite WTA player, I think, when I was just getting into tennis, which was around like 2012, let's say heavily. So that wasn't obviously her prime, but she still was around the top. She had this 1 year when she came back to the top 10. I mean, a combination of looks, but also the looks of her forehand. Definitely, they combined into, let's say, yeah, I don't know if a crush, but yeah, that was my favorite WTA player, both in terms of watching the game, but also, yeah, looks wise.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't
Interesting. Your
believe that
favorite is-
she married Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Oh yeah. I was also very surprised by that.
Giving up on Topokin. I mean, you're so quick to give up on players. You like give up on players and then you reconsider so often, I think. But with Topo, I get that. I can't really just sit here and tell you that his career is progressing nicely. I mean, it's not. Last year he played one good match and it was a loss. Of course, he had 7 match points, but still. That was the question, Dave. I mean, as I said, I pretty much have this philosophy that I will reply to everything. So that's not true, Gene. Monfils won the opening set despite only winning 4 return points all sets. I mean, that's not true, right?
4 seems a little bit less to me. I mean, there was a point where Nishesh was just flying through his service games, but that was more.
Yeah, but I mean, he won like 5 in the breaker. It's alone, I think.
Yeah. That can be
Let
right.
me see. Let me see if there's some. Yeah, 8 points on serve. Yeah.
Oh, okay. 8 points in the first set. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just checking first set. Yeah.
Yeah. 8 out of 34. Yep. I have that too.
That's a big difference, though. I mean, 8 for Monfils and 20 for Nishesh. But obviously, a lot of factors related to that, and especially these first 3 games for Gael.
Yeah, unfortunately, I
every
think the
single
set
time
just came
it's
down to
great.
those last 3 points in the tiebreak. Where that's really, I think, where the experience gap showed a little bit there, but
But you can definitely make the case that like they shouldn't have, because Nishesh takes one of these first break points in the opener, the first 3 service games of Monfils, and then the set never goes to a breaker, especially the second game of the match, or rather third game of the match, but second on Monfils' serve, the short backhand that he had, and just like
that
clamped
short
it into the
backhand
middle of the net. Yeah.
is one that stands out.
I said that it's like a little uncomfortable of the backhand, but then again, no one was forcing him to play it off the backhand. So
This is quite a volley with Monfils on the baseline. I mean, he basically volleyed this from what? No man's land, pretty much. He wasn't even really at the service box.
yeah, I mean, I get it if it was Kurnikova, but I kind of learned about her, when I became a tennis fan. She wasn't around anymore. She wasn't playing.
Yeah.
But super fun story though with the email virus, right?
Oh, that's a good question from Jean. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I would try to go and try to get credited for it, see how it works out. I was hoping that they would have the WTA 500 the week before Indian Wells after last year, but it looks like they might have it after the US Open. Not 100% confirmed or anything, but that would be my guess. So that's good. They're replacing it with, as Damien would call it, an upgrade. So
Definitely gonna make that joke with Newport when it comes around, but San Diego, I don't think well, maybe I will as well. We'll see. But I'm definitely gonna
San Diego.
joke.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Ghosty. It was Guadalajara. I think Guadalajara is the last title Sakura won in 2023. She beat Dolehide in the final.
So she only
She
has
did play
2.
San Diego that year. Yeah,
her name?
she won Rabat in 2019, and then there was a long drought, and then finally she wins Guadalajara.
Well, speaking of poor shots at the net, there was a smash from Nishesh here. He has another one trying to claim the game. It's pretty awful. And he has another one trying to claim the game, and this one's a touch better, but still clumsy. Anyway, 3-2. But yeah, that was quite a wild last 3 points. Good for him to still survive this for now. Nearly all elite doubles pairings don't have one left-handed player and one right. Seems obvious. I mean, yeah, it's definitely well established that this is a good combination, but maybe there's just not enough good left-handers. Still a fair few of them have, I guess. I mean, Granollers Ceballos, you have a left-hander. Arevalo Pavic, you have a left-hander.
Yes, that Sakura run was definitely quite weak for a 1000, but she did beat Garcia in the semis, who was top 10 at the time, although wasn't really playing like a top 10 player. Really
Yeah, it was a very weak Guadalajara, that's for sure, but still. She made the Indian Wells final. Like, people kind of forget that.
Yeah, twice, right? Both times losing to Iga.
Yeah, I was thinking about the one last year because I've just heard so many takes that like Sakari was already quite irrelevant in 24, and
yeah, she had a good sunshine swing. Indian Wells in Miami was good.
She had a brief spell which was like probably her best in 2-3 years, but of course then the injury came and everything. Yeah, Ghosty. It's like what is his name? Teodor Davidov, right?
Yep, the guy
the American Bulgarian kid. Yeah.
Is he actually ambidextrous in real life or just in tennis?
I have no idea. We had a few players like this on the Pro Tour. There was this Korean Kim, but of course he didn't really like get all that far, but still got to ranking of like 500, 600. I don't feel like I underestimated Blake Ellis, but you definitely underestimated Trotter. And for a while, I was underestimating Trotter heavily too. Like I was right there with you on that in that boat. But Blake Ellis doesn't have. I mean, he made the third round at the Slam, and almost actually he was close with Kepfer, but I don't think he's gonna have like a massive rise. No.
Yes.
And Shidek, by the way, Keen, you also are underestimating. Like, there's no way that he actually never wins a challenger from here. Bicknell and Nakagawa, we were right about, though. Almost a year now since Blaise Bicknell beat Zachary Svaida in the Indian Wells final.
Who?
That's a good question. Blaise Bicknell, Jamaican American. Never mind.
I don't remember this. Okay.
Yeah, he beat Svaida in the challenger final last year, and that was kind of wild. He was just crashing Zach's serve, just in the way that you would feel like every single pro player should be able to do, but almost no one is. Well, still Basavareddy up, of course. He is up on the scoreboard, but we still haven't had any breaks
Spider
in
is
this
actually
match.
going through a pretty rough time right now, away from the courts, because I think his father was diagnosed with like cancer, and he's like pretty serious. It's like stage 4 or something. So I'm not actually expecting anything from him this year. I think we're gonna get a drop off.
I mean, it might be tough to get a drop off from here because he's already pretty low, but yeah, I mean, it's both his game and also his mentality right now aren't where they should be.
Yeah.
His game will never be really like all that exciting, be above the Challenger Tour, but at least he was dominating American challengers for a while before Tien showed up and before Basavareddy was that much better, because he was actually crashing Nishesh in late 2023. But now even dominating these American challengers seems a little out of reach for Zach for the time being.
I'm assuming you're talking about Carlos Navarro. Yes.
Probably not Alcaraz. I mean, you're probably not wrong about Shidek's indoor chances obviously being far greater than any other court, but maybe he could win an outdoor hardcourt challenger somewhere based on his performance this week, for example. Obviously had a very tough loss to Hadi Habib, and for all intents and purposes, he should have won that match, but still. Like a weaker outdoor hardcourt challenger somewhere, why not?
Yes, actually, we do know who Kyrgios plays in the first round. It is the 2024 Challenger hero, Jake Fernley.
Mr. 90% challenger win rate, Jacob Fernley. He actually, by the way, like in terms of bookies odds, Jacob Fernley started as a pretty big underdog against Nick Kyrgios. Not sure how I feel about that. Yeah.
No, I think Fernley is going to win that match.
That's what I said on the draw thing as well. This tonight or wherever. Well, it was almost 24 hours ago by now.
But it is encouraging for Nick that he's been playing since, like, he did play another doubles match. He's been like practicing, I think, on site.
Yeah, but actually there's something that's not really too encouraging, right? And it's that the abdominal tear that he has. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. He does have abdominal tear and the wrist.
He withdrew from an exhibition, has that abdominal tear. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it just doesn't feel like Fernley has anything he can like really attack easily. I think he could beat someone who like Shapovalov or Tsitsipas. He could beat just because they have a horrible backhand return. And like Fernley is just heavy ball, very solid, all rounded. I don't really know what Kyrgios attacks there.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if he got to the Zverev third round.
For the moment, at least. Obviously, I'm not saying that in 2 months the situation won't be different or can't be different. But for the moment, it's a tough open. It's a tough opener. And that might sound a little weird. I mean, Jake Fernley is literally one of the last direct acceptances. But I think there are players like way above him in the rankings that would be easier for Nick to play.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll retire after this year, but he's definitely closer to the end than the beginning.
Will depend on what's happening, right? I mean, if he's really able to like
results based,
come deep in slams again, which is clearly what he wants based on his interviews and stuff, then I don't think he's going to retire. But if he's gonna play 5 matches this season and never really threatened to do much, then yeah, I mean he's on the
He's sort
verge
of
of
always
retirement.
been a part-time player, so he's kind of always like, like what is the difference really like between Kyrgios retiring and like being an active player? Like there's not as much of a difference there as there is.
Depends on his training regimen and what it really is. Like, would it actually
Yeah.
change all that much if he wasn't, active per se anymore? And I guess that's something we can't really know.
I mean,
we can assume. We can assume.
Kyrgios is always beefing with somebody on Twitter. That's just what he does. Oops. Oh yeah, Opelka is a big question mark as well. But the back issue.
Back, wrist.
Mm-hmm.
That opening week
The
of the
back
season.
was the issue in the final, right? And then the wrist he had to have worked on in the semis against Pericard.
Pericard.
But I'm actually more excited for a potential Mahac Djokovic third round maybe than I am in the Opelka one. But I don't know if either will happen.
Sure. Who can stop that from happening?
Besides their health, probably I would still, if they're healthy. I mean, I don't think.
Okay.
I think they'll get.
Yeah, just because of the way you said it, I thought there was somebody else there that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who they have in their first round, but from what I remember, I don't think there was anybody too threatening.
I don't really remember either, to be honest. I feel like I still haven't learned the draw. Like,
it was Sumit Nagal for Mahac, and then for Opelka, it's Auckland.
Oh, Opelka on Clown. Okay. 13-match win streak, just like Joao Fonseca. Coming at a slightly lower level, yes.
Coached by Steve Darcy.
ATFs. Yeah. Darcy has this full like Belgian package of Collignon and Onclin. I'm not sure like how he spreads this work that he does with them, but yeah, definitely for the past few years. By the way, Basavareddy was 15-40 down in this game, and I was about to say that we're like entering the decisive stages of the second set. And well, we might, but we might actually do it from a very different angle. In fact, there's a couple of very strong aggressive returns from Basavareddy. And then this next point where like Gael decides to call it quits already on it. Nishesh is about to smash, and we've seen a few very clumsy smashes from him today. But he makes this one, and now it's a break point, and it's a break point that could allow him to serve for the set. So many chances in the opener. Or rather, maybe not so many, but like 3 games where he had a break point. I know it was just 1 each, but
he has been returning really well in this match, right? Like he's just been very compact with those returns, especially the forehand cross court has been really good on the deuce side. Also, the second serve returns sometimes first serve returns on the ad side on his forehand have been really good.
Speaking of good forehand outside returns, this one on second serve on breakpoint is pretty great. But it's another one of these points where there's just, lacking that finish, despite the initial advantage. And
he actually went back on the first serve return here. On the second serve return, he's not standing that far in. Although he has a very good inside in return. I'm watching this point, right? I think you've probably already seen it. So
yeah.
I'm just kind of reacting to it. But he had a slight advantage there, and he just kind of misses the forehand. He did have a lot of wood actually to work with, so that was I don't think that was a good miss.
Definitely not. Very tough to say what he was even trying to do with that forehand, really, other than just getting it pretty deep.
So that's 4 out of 4 breakpoints saved from Monfils.
Let's see if he sticks to 1 breakpoint each in every game where he has to save one, or whether there will be more in this one.
Oh, okay. There's a bit of a delay after this first serve. Monfils. That's why it's behind. Oh, yeah, this time the drop shot does work, and it's a good time to play it.
Yeah, especially that backhand dropper. I feel like since the next gen finals, we've been seeing him just go for it so much, and usually the moments are perfect.
Like Novak, he likes the one down the line more than cross court.
Yeah, he likes the one down the line, like Novak. Although he has more in his arsenal. Like he has a few drop shots in his arsenal. Novak, on the other hand, yeah, he kind of just has the one. I guess Radwanska had just one drop shot too. It can
It
work.
works really well for Novak on clay. I mean, it's
Yeah.
helped him in quite a lot of matches over the years.
Don't disagree with that. Definitely not. Obviously, it's quite huge for Monfils to hit an ace here on another breakpoint. So that's 5 out of 5 as the story of missed opportunities is just becoming.
I do
more and
see
more
Novak, but I don't think he's the only player that I did also say I don't think he's the only one. Like he has some elements of Korda, of Gofan, Nishikori. Like stylistically, it's definitely there, but it's not like you can just copy paste everything about Novak and do it for Nishesh.
I guess they have similar tools, but they just use them very differently.
Right? Yeah, like their approach is different in terms of like.
Yeah, like their tactics couldn't be more different, but they're just like strictly tools are very similar. And physically, I mean, it's just completely different build, completely different. I don't know. I don't want to say league because it's not like one is better than the other, although actually it is. But yeah, it's just a different physique, different things you can do with it.
I think we will see Nishesh develop physically and grow into his body to where we'll see more strength. Especially right now, he's still kind of relatively skinny 19-year-old, right? So,
I mean, hopefully, I just there's. I don't want to sound racist or anything,
but there might be some
long line of Indian
genetic implications where,
like
I was gonna say, like genetically, he just might not be blessed in the same way, and that's just a lot of it is genetic. So I'll be honest.
Some of the Varman, Yuki Bambri, and the likes, right? Just their bodies not really living up to the challenge in the way that some of the foreign peers.
But we'll see because he's grown up in the States and he's fully he was born here and everything. So.
Yeah, but that's probably less important in this case, actually, right? In terms of just genetics, in terms of physique, fitness.
But I wonder if there's something in the training as well, like in
maybe it could be.
India versus training here. Like I just don't think
it's probably more like 80% nature than rather than nurture in this case, I think. But yeah, sure. Hopefully he's just gonna keep developing his body and avoid the same cases like Bambri and the Varman and the likes. The Varman would be less so, but Bambri is like a classic example. Basically never fit. Of course, now he's playing doubles, so he's kind of made it a career regardless. But well, I mean, this match has been a story of missed opportunities for Basavareddy, that's for sure. And now we are really witnessing how that might come back to bite him. We already did in the first set breaker, but now, too much points for Gael Monfils, sorta.
More or less, yeah. Feels like it.
And in this case, like in the opening set, we were only talking about it just like, okay, he had 3 breakpoints in 3 different games. And then the effects of that sort of we only really saw after some time. And now in this game, we're kind of just right now already seeing, how that is impacting him, the fact that he had these chances in the previous game and then suddenly he's just a little less clinical. Let's see if he can climb out of this.
Yeah, this is a big moment. 15-40 second serve. It's a good second serve. He's also very confident when he's transitioning to the net. He's got good awareness up there, I think. Like those attacking instincts are definitely pretty natural for him already. But second serve, break point. What? Oh, okay, he misses the backhand, but it was one of those returns from Monfils. Pretty deep. Nishesh tried to make something happen, but I think there were a couple too many like sloppy mistakes in this game that, well, maybe the carryover from those breakpoints that he didn't get the game before.
Yeah,
So-
I think it was like it's a very textbook match in that sense so far.
Yeah.
But like we're just seeing one player miss a lot of opportunities, and then basically the other just takes whatever he gets. Like literally the first time he had a breakpoint on Nishesh's serve, he takes the game.
Yeah.
And in this case, yeah, just as I mentioned, like the opening set, 3 breakpoints, and then we don't see the effects of that. The fact that Nishesh didn't take it until the breaker, or maybe until like 4-5 or 5-6, when he is under pressure because of that. But here we just instantly see a very different Nishesh in the 4-all game. So now, well, he hasn't broken Monfils so far. He has to do it now if he wants to stay alive.
Yes, indeed. Yes, we've talked about how Monfils looks very tired, and then we see him play really well. Which, yeah, just referring to Gene in the comments. But yeah, that is very Monfils. But Nishesh has already played him now twice. So he very much knows it, and he probably grew up watching a lot of Monfils. Especially if his idol was Djokovic. Because Djokovic is 20-0 against Limov.
Yeah, he watched all 20 matches.
Well,
Lost
he
his
saw 4
sanity
good ones.
and-
He saw
yeah.
4 good ones and 16 duds.
Exactly.
How far will Casper Ruud get? That's a great question, actually. I mean, Casper played a very good United Cup. That match against Mahach was very good. But how will he do in Australia? Well, he plays Munar in the first round. And then he's in the same section as Zverev, I think. Zverev is the potential quarterfinal. Or he could also play Menchik in the second round. Menchik or Bazashvili. And then potentially Felix or Shang or Struff in the third round. I don't know. Honestly, I'm going to say quarters at the maximum, but maybe the fourth round. Oh, and that is a textbook Monfils point right there at 15 love. Some good defense and then the counter attack. Monfils, by the way, has been in a lot of finals. Can you guess how many?
Okay. This is gonna be tough. Let me think about it. I think he might have like 9 titles or something like that. And I'm gonna say he
a
had
little bit more.
a bit more.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think he has like an amazing final record. So I'm gonna say 30.
34. Well, now about to be 35.
Okay.
He's won 12 titles.
12 titles, okay. I was thinking about someone else then, because I had in mind like a very different record. I was thinking about someone else. I'm not really sure about whom.
And that
Oh,
is
it was Grigor, you know? I was thinking of Grigor's record, I think. Yeah. Because I checked that recently, and I was just thinking of Grigor, yeah. Grigor has 9, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, we talked about how the key stats in this match were definitely the break points and service points played on both their serves, but it was Monfils who, yeah, played the bigger points a little bit better, made the better decisions, like kind of allowed Nishesh to come up with something. A couple of shots here or there. The margins were so slim in this match, honestly. But still a very good week for Nishesh, getting to this first ever ATP semifinal in his second tour level event, basically at the ATP level, right? Is this his second tour level event? It is, right? Because he played Brisbane.
I mean,
before.
depends how you count the next gen
Mhm.
finals.
The next gen
Depends how you
finals.
count the US Open as well. But yeah, strictly in
Right.
terms of ATP Tour main draw, then yeah,
Yeah.
it's his second event. Even his second event in terms of qualifying on the ATP Tour, if we don't count the US Open, because he never played any like qualifying, even like in Dallas, Delray Beach, he never played these events.
And yeah, both times he loses to the same player. I guess they were different types of matches. Yeah. So what did you feel about his week overall?
I mean, overall, like even we can kind of extend it a bit further. So like the entire start of the year has been entirely positive, I think. Just, he was also in that same obviously boat as Lerner Tien in terms of he's never really had that many chances on the main tour and never had these many opportunities against the opponents that he's playing now. He was obviously stuck, let's say stuck in these American challengers in the second half of last year, where like the fields got kind of stale at the end of last season. So there was a bit of uncertainty of how he was going to hold up. But even just like these qualifying wins, they've been very good. Altmaier, Van de Zandschulp, Goyo, Pui. And then he also gets this big run here. I think that, especially if you look at the fact that last year he only played one top 100 opponent, and this week he beat like 4 of them. So that's massive, absolutely. And to make a semi here already, I don't really mind like what's gonna happen in the Australian Open round 1. He might just get blown out by Djokovic. Like that's just the draw he got. There's not much you can really do with that. But yeah, sure. This is a very positive start in terms of how he's holding up for against these like quality opponents that we haven't really or hadn't seen him against before. And today, indeed, you're right that this was a different match than against Monfils, than against Monfils in Brisbane. I think in Brisbane, yeah, it was so close. Third set, Nishesh just kind of gasses out as usual in many matches. But then today, that wasn't really a part of it, and he actually had a clear edge over Gael for most of the match. And it's just that he doesn't take these breakpoints right away in the opening set. He doesn't take them at 3-4 or 4-3 from his perspective in the second. Then his shot selection in the tiebreak, like we said, like Monfils just makes you doubt yourself sometimes, and you throw in this extra additional drop shot for no reason, or maybe you don't follow up that great aggressive return. You don't win the point from there. And especially the second set, it just felt like the chances that he missed 4-3, it instantly just carried over to the next game, and Nishesh was not himself at 4-all. So this loss is actually way more disappointing than Brisbane, despite the fact that he took a set in Brisbane.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the producer wants us to preview the Nishesh Novak first round. So kind of what are your thoughts? Personally, I'm not expecting it to be very competitive. I just feel like the quality gap is still definitely there to a big enough point that I just think the first set is going to be very telling. Like if Novak comes out and he's we see like that edge in the shot selection and just kind of most of the parts of the game, I would still take Novak in straight sets. But if the first set is pretty tight, that's a good sign for Nishesh already. And like Novak's record when he wins the first set in these majors is just ridiculous. It's like 317-6 or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really tough ask for the underdog. I don't think he's gonna be like dead tired by the time he reaches the opening round in Melbourne, given that he lost today, doesn't have the one extra match even. But still, he's had a very intense first 2 weeks of the season already, and he's not a guy who generally is the fittest yet. And against Novak, I just don't really see how you can kind of like attack him in the way that Nishesh does. Of course, maybe you can argue that Novak at this point, his movement has declined a bit, so maybe the drop shots are going to be more effective. Maybe you can get on top of him, but the serve is going to be a massive advantage for Djokovic. It's not really underrated anymore. Everyone rates it by now, but it's going to be a massive factor in an encounter like this on a relatively fast court. And I just think Novak will probably like his chances of like keeping the ball at points pretty tight and clean. But it should be very fun to watch. Like, I don't really expect that much to be anything exciting in terms of the scoreboard and everything. If it is, even better. But it should be very fun to watch because of all the comparisons that have been made between Djokovic and Basavareddy. Even Nishesh himself obviously is fueling that, in the sense that he said that he modeled his game after Novak, which you can see in many ways. The redirection, the aggressive returns as well. Also simply the two-handed backhand and everything that kind of goes along with that. So it should be really nice to just see them going up against each other and basically have this very clear comparison between the two, just see them next to each other. But I don't expect too much from that match, to be honest. I think that could be one of these draws where you're like, okay, so yeah, my tournament is over. Most likely I can just come out, play the best that I can, but it's just too tough for the moment. But it's great experience.
Yeah. Great experience indeed. And yes, somebody pointed out in the chat, I don't remember who, I think it was Gene, that Novak went 4 sets with Dino Prismic. Obviously different type of opponent in terms of how they approach the game, but there were some similarities to Novak there. Of course, it's like a much different approach that Nishesh has than Dino, but yeah, it is possible we could see Djokovic a little bit rusty in this first match or so. But personally, I think I'm expecting a higher level from Djokovic than what he did in the first round last year.
Yeah, he was also a bit sick at the beginning of last Australian Open. Djokovic, maybe that will also come into play. But also, yeah, just a different opponent. Like, Dino was able to defend and get into like this super extended long rally with him, basically be able to just compete with Novak and trust himself in this long point with Novak that most players really can't. And Nishesh, it's a very different game. He has to be aggressive. He has to try to create opportunities for himself rather than what Dino was trying to pull off.
Novak has lost in the first round of Slam, but that was just the first ever major that he played against Murat Safin in the 2005 Australian Open.
Yes, ages ago. I see that we missed a lot of comments in the chat as well. Otto will beat Fils. By the way, there's like a medical thing with Virtanen right now. He had to get some checkups, and it was something like with his heart or just like, overall conditioning. So I don't really know if that's going to be possible, truthfully. But yeah, I'm just looking if there was anything else that we have to respond to, really. I don't know when the WT investigation will come out. I would not wear a gold chain pendant with initials JF. There's a lot of comments about me being like a massive Fonseca fan. I feel like I'm actually very cautious and reasonable with him.
You were, yeah.
Aren't I? Yeah. But I don't know. Is Shelton a serve bot? Keen is asking. I mean, sometimes he kind of... I think Shelton sometimes thinks of himself as a serve bot, but he shouldn't.
Yeah, he plays like one when he actually has a lot more to his game that he hasn't fully learned how to tap into yet.
I like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel
for me,
as well.
You literally have to be like 6'9" plus to be a serve bot and make like that the only really part. So maybe Isner Karlovic.
Yeah, that's a topic I also touched on another stream, that like, but it very much depends on your definition of the word.
Yeah, because some people call Roundage a serve bot, they call Berrettini a serve bot. It's like, are they really? I don't know. Roundage may be closer, but
I'm quite strict with my definition of the word serve bot, as in like, it would have to be a player who literally does nothing else well but the serve. And then it's a problem to actually put anybody in that category. But yeah, I very much agree that like Shelton is not a serve bot, but sometimes he kind of thinks of himself as one, doesn't trust his baseline game. I've been using this example a lot, but like the match he played against Bublik on clay, and he's just serve and volleying on every point. Like, this is someone you should be outplaying off the ground, at least on clay. So yeah, that's just unacceptable to me, to be honest. But obviously he's got a lot of time to learn. Casper can beat Zverev. Casper will sneak his way to the quarterfinals. I mean, I like the aggressive start to his season, but I don't know about him beating Zverev in Australia. Almost got that much last year, of course, but Nori upset him.
Mm-hmm.
How good was Gunes
also Monfils also has that run of like consecutive years, like made a final or won a title, or made a final, I think. But of course, he didn't do it last year. But still,
do you know where his first title came on the ATP Tour?
Was it in Poland?
It was
somewhere. It might have been Sopot, right? It was the same one that Rafa won in 2004, but Monfils won
back-to-back years. Yeah, Gael in 2005. Yeah. Quite a historical place in a way. However, unfortunately, the venue is now a ruin. How good was Gunes Varan? Let me just put it this way, Keen. I think the career high and the top 100 run that he had, that's already very solid for his career.
Yeah. Oh wait, yeah. Actually, I was thinking that Monfils. We were talking about his finals record, but I would say he's won 5 of his last 6 finals that he's played, dating back to 2019 Rotterdam. And the only one he lost was against Sinner indoors in 2021 in Sofia. So, but he beat Stan in 2019 Rotterdam. He beat Felix the year after that. He beat. Of course, his last title was in Stockholm. So I think he could have more titles after the age of 30 than he did before 30 if he wins tomorrow.
I think he also won multiple titles in a season for the first time after 30, right?
Yeah. 2020 he won both Rotterdam and then Marseille. Or Marseille and then Rotterdam.
1 month. And could have been 3 titles if he beat Novak in that Dubai semi.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, very important if you remember that.
I don't actually, but maybe if I go back, I'll see it. But yeah, there was one in.
I think it was yesterday, I guess.
One in 10th, one in 11th, or one in 12th chance. That, maybe more.
I mean, 16 qualifiers. So
okay, so like 1 in 16.
I do wonder if Zverev thinks he is better than Casper. I mean, Zverev thinks he is better than basically any player.
Better than everyone.
But I mean, he definitely thinks of himself as a better player than Casper, which is why a loss like the Roland Garros semi to him hurt him a lot. I'm pretty sure he does think of himself as like I'm better than pretty much anybody but Carlos, Yannick, and Novak, and he probably puts himself just like right with these guys. But it's good, I think, actually for him, like specifically because these guys tend to make it, like the ones that are crazy enough to believe that they can be the best. So
I think I read a quote from him in the ATP finals where he's like, in order for me to win a slam, I have to go for my shots in the tight moments. I was like, okay, I haven't heard you say that in a while. I'm listening, so we'll see.
I guess it's also a thing with a lot of like people
where he was like practicing after every win, like he had in Paris Masters. He was like going on the court like immediately after and practicing and all that. So I don't know.
I think it's also a thing with like a lot of players like this, or people generally, who are like very aggressively confident that in reality they're actually hiding that inside they're not.
Because you can see he's not confident if you watch those matches in these finals. You can see he gets very passive.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of like the dichotomy you have there, which makes a lot of sense. It reminds me of a friend of mine that neither of you is going to know, but neither of you are near. Yeah, never mind. Clearly I have to go to bed since I'm dwelling on some idiotic English questions. It's 3:12 a.m. for me. I will try to watch Bergs against Porsches. I will try, but if I fail, sorry guys. I mean, obviously it won't really matter for you too much. Novak Zverev was slated for saying the draw had opened up. I mean,
But like, I think everyone was saying the draw had opened up at that point. Like it just had,
He blew it. I mean, he blew it, and he almost blew it even in the previous rounds. But indeed, the draw had opened up. Is that a hipster clash? Not anymore. It would have been a hipster clash 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
There's nothing hipster about Nuno and Zizou anymore. Maybe Zizou still, as long as he doesn't have like a title or something. But Nuno right now is not very hipster. Get some sleep, bro. It's good for my constitution. Our constitution in Poland is doing fine, thank you. Am I referring to my friend Jerzy Janowicz? No, that friend you guys would know. And Jerzy Janowicz is not a friend of mine. Jerzy Janowicz is not like openly. Or how did Keen call it? That Thiago Seibovilt is the only player. Something like hatred. I don't remember exactly how he said it, but basically it's not that thing with Janowicz. But we also had a few. Well, maybe let's say interactions that weren't the most pleasant in the world. But I don't take it personally. I know he's like that with everybody. Anyway, that's really it. Don't you all think it's weird? No, that's probably... Oh, so that was the thing that Ghosty is talking about. That was the almost default for Nori?
Mhm. Yeah.
Or what?
He like flung his racket after he lost the point in the final game of the match. And then it like didn't hit the spectator, but it like hit the backboard. So it could have been a default for sure. If it hit somebody, like immediately it's a default. Well, although remember the final in Winston-Salem where Mickelson hit somebody in the crowd and then like the person in the crowd didn't react at all. So well, it should be that if it hits somebody, it's an automatic default. Doesn't matter like the severity of the pain or how the person reacts, because sometimes the reaction.
But I mean, that's what the rules are right now. Basically, the reaction is the most important thing. The impact of the thing that you did.
So yeah, I can see the inconsistency there.
Yeah, exactly, Steve. That's very true. Cam Nori, I mean, Auckland still not conquered, and Gael Monfils might conquer Auckland, or Zizou Bergs, or Nuno Borges. We'll see. Anyway, I guess that's going to be it for today from us. There's also going to be a watch along for what? For Kokinakis, not Kokinakis, Kecmanovic Korda, right? With James. Maybe somebody will join him, maybe not. We will see. The producer is on to either just nod or just to nod. Thank you for your cooperation and contribution. You've been the hero of this show today. Indeed, Jean, it seems like the hometown slam for Cameron Norrie is not allowing him to perform freely, especially the final against Gasquet, but even the round one loss this week. Or round two? Round one, round one. Of course, he's not seeded. Who am I kidding? Anyway. I'm so sorry.
He's playing another unseeded. Oh, he's playing Berrettini in the first round.
Yeah. And I guess there was a question as well about Nakashima taking a set from Ben Shelton.
I mean, yeah, he can. Of course. Yeah.
Ben Shelton isn't exactly a player who's going to be winning most of his matches 3-0 with how serve-oriented he is. So,
yeah.
Let's go, Brandon. That's what Vansh wanted to say right now. Anyway, thank you, Ghosty. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to the producer, to the Gael Monfils, and to Nishesh Basavareddy. Time to go to sleep, clearly.
Yes. I think you've reached your limit.
Yes. 2 hours was enough. Thank you, Gael, for cleaning up in 2.
Yeah.
Although he was really delaying some of the action too, so. But anyway, cool that we already have 12k subscribers, but the goals are so much higher. Let's keep rolling and talking tennis.
All right, thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.